Hey guys, Bicycle Pair bringing you this Rider of the Apocalypse review and analysis video. Announced a couple of days ago, sorry about the delay. These are the War Within hero talents that are shared between the Unholy and Frost Death Knight. We'll take a look at each and every talent available to us, discuss the impact, what they think about them, how they potentially impact our gameplay, that kind of vibe. Start off though, the name of this is just incredible, and I think the general theme here is exactly what I want to see when we talk about this hero talents. Anyway, let's just jump straight into it. First of all though, just so you know, you will be able to pick up every single talent when you level up. So once you reach the new max cap, everything here will be available to you, and the choice is actually in the choice nodes. Alright, just so that's clear. Anyway, the top ability, this is kind of like the theme of it all, is called Rider's Champion. Spending runes has a chance to call forth the aid of a horseman for 10 seconds. And then we obviously have the 4 horsemen with different abilities. We have Mograine, cast Deafening K at his location that follows his position. That's a very interesting one. I'm sure you guys have seen the feedback that Deafening K is pretty, it feels bad putting it down and then having all the target can move out of it. It really hampers like Frost Death Knight's ability to cleave, that kind of thing. There's also a dev note in here we're going to have a look at. But anyway, Deafening K moving with whoever casts it is a very interesting idea, which I like. That's just going to be a general kind of AoE thing though. But we'll talk about it a bit later. The talents interact with this. We have White Mane, cast Undeath on your target, dealing Shadow Frost damage per stack every 3 seconds for 24 seconds. Each time Undeath deals damage, it gains a stack. Cannot be refreshed. This feels like a bit like Necrotic Plague, if you guys remember that. So it starts out low and then ramps up over time. I think we're going to see like essentially Undeath windows. So he applies it and then you're going to have a stack up over time. And then he's going to do lots of damage towards the end, and then it's going to reset, and he's going to start stacking again. We have Trollbane, cast Chains of Ice on your target, slowing the movement speed by 70% and increasing the damage to take from you by 5% for 8 seconds. I think this is mainly like a PvP thing. Obviously, we don't care that much about slows. I can see this being potentially a bit annoying, like slowing one target and nothing else, if you like him with Kloss, whatever. But yeah, nothing too exciting there. Takes some increased damage from you, which is obviously nice. Finally, we have Nazgrim. While Nazgrim is active, you gain Apocalyptic Conquest, increasing your strength by 5%. Just a flat 5% buff, so nothing really to interact with there. Okay, so that's the 4 horsemen. You summon them by spending runes. This immediately brings my thoughts to Obliteration versus Breath. We don't know what they're going to look like in the next expansion, but we do know Breath is much more efficient at spending runes. So, not sure. We'll see, as I said, but this immediately tells me that Breath might benefit from it more due to the fact that it spends more runes, right? Anyway, let's have a look at the rest of the talents. So if you go straight down the middle, we have Mograine's Might. Your damage increased by 5%, and you gain the benefits of your Deafening K while inside Mograine's Deafening K. Alright, so this means that you randomly summon a pet that will cast Deafening K as it moves around, and when you stand close to that, you will gain the benefit of Deafening K. Importantly, there's a dev note associated with this. So it says, while not directly related to the Rider Apocalypse tree, we know that both Sandline and Rider trees have talents that interact with Deafening K. Yeah? And we like to avoid these talents drawing too much of the focus of feedback, as we have some plans to alleviate the pressure of staying within your Deafening K. Well, I have nothing to reveal right at this moment. We can say we have plans to change how Cleaving Strikes functions in the War Within. Very exciting news. One of the main things people complain about is popping down Deafening K, tank moving the mobs out of it, and you kind of sit there going, okay, what now? So they plan on alleviating the fact that you need to stand in Deafening K to gain value from it. So I can't say too much about this Mograine's Might and how it's going to impact us. We'll see. Maybe they'll move it away so that Deafening K actually don't give you lots of benefits. I don't know. We'll see. But it's interesting both to see the fact that they're thinking about it and due to the fact that Deafening K might be actually moving around with you. Right? We have Nazgrim's Conquest. If an enemy dies while Nazgrim is active, the strength of Apocalyptic Conquest is increased by 3%. Additionally, each rune you spend increases its value by 1%. Alright, so just to remind yourself, Nazgrim gives you 5% strength. This increases that by 3% whenever anything dies. I wonder if that stacks. Like, are you going to have scenarios where, imagine the blobs in current Fall, right? Is that going to scale with that? So you got 20 targets die, you instantly get like 60% strength? I don't know. It might just be a single instance, or yeah, unclear. Spending runes increase the value. There's kind of like a ramping nature, which is interesting. So essentially, whenever you summon Nazgrim, until he goes away, you're going to have like a ramping strength buff, similar to Festamite. So this is kind of like a random Festamite trigger, but we can actually trigger it as well. So quite interesting. I do like Festamite, so don't complain about that one. We'll see how this enemy dying thing works. It could create some really nice funneling for us. When you pull lots of ads on a boss, right? Kill all the ads, gets a huge strength buff from Nazgrim, and then just obliterate whatever target you're hitting. One step further, we have Fury of the Horsemen. This is a choice node here. We have every 50 runic power you spend extends the duration of Horseman's aid in combat for 1 second up to 5 seconds. And a Feast of Souls, where you have 2 or more horsemen aiding you, your runic power spending abilities deal 20% increased damage and have a 10% chance to refund the rune. Alright, the first one, quite simple. It's all about spending runic power to extend the duration of the horsemen. This has good synergy when I'm talking about later, but you can actually spawn 4 of them at the same time, and then you just need to spend 250 runic power over the duration to extend them at their maximum. And that's kind of very much feasible, at least for Unholy, but also for Frost if they have Breath running. Breath is 18 per second, so over 20 seconds that will give you by far sufficient amount of runic power spending to get this maximum duration. And then whenever in the fight the horsemen spawn, you're going to get some extra extension doing that. Again, my one worry, obliteration really doesn't spend runic power, so it's going to see much less value from this point. I don't know. Again, we don't know. Is obliteration going to be a thing in next expansion? I don't know. This talent tree tells me that maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, the other choice is a Feast of Souls, where you have 2 more horsemen aiding you. Your rune power spending abilities deal 20% increased damage and have 10% chance to refund the rune. This is, giving you some resources. Very good synergy with Breath Synagosa, for instance, because obviously giving more runes gives you more breath duration. And, it feeds... No, actually, don't get that extension now. These two would synergize if you could pick them both, but this doesn't actually allow you to do that. Yeah, it seems fine. Unholy kind of likes dealing damage with rune power, not that much. It's all about breath, so I definitely see this one being like the breath choice of these two. Finally, let's look at the final node, Apocalypse Now. Army of the Dead and Frostwind's Fury call upon all 4 horsemen to aid you for 20 seconds. So this allows you to trigger them manually. Obviously, this is really good for like cooldown windows. Unholy, we have that 3-minute CD window. If you're going to have that in expansion, this allows you to summon all 4 of them. We could then use Fury the Horseman to extend them 25 seconds. We have good synergy with Gargle. You get all the buff rolling, and you get this big, nice, bursty window. For Frost, we have Frostwind's Fury. That's a 3-minute cooldown. Might be 1.5 minutes, so picking that up is obviously going to get some good synergy. I like them adding value to Frostwind's Fury. It's such a cool talent, and I love to use it more. It's a bit sad now that we have Chill Streak in the current patch that we can't use Frostwind's Fury. So I like them kind of saying, well, we want you to pick Frostwind's Fury. It's a cool ability, and using it summons all the horsemen to fight with you. Alright, so that's all the center, and to the middle, let's have a look at the sides here. So to the right, we have another choice node where we have Horseman's Aid. Well, at your aid, a horseman will occasionally cast anti-magic shell on you and themselves at 80% effectiveness. This feels like very strong defensive. Anti-magic shell is a very strong magic defensive, and having an 80% effectiveness is kind of really good. Depends a little bit on how often it is and how much magic damage you actually take. Obviously, if you have like magic damage coming in sporadically, this probably won't give you that much value. But if you have like ticket magic damage, that kind of thing, this is going to be really good for you. The choice though is to Pact of the Apocalypse. When you take damage, 5% of the damage is redirected to each active horseman. Now this looks really strong. So if you have 4 of them up and running, 20% damage reduction flat, right? And I don't know about the uptime, but it's going to be roughly 5% most of the time, I would assume. The one worry here is that it's going to kill the riders. I don't know about their health, but if you have too much damage intake, that 5% damage might actually end up killing your horsemen, and might be something to consider. I don't know. Ideally, like, this looks a bit too strong, but if it ends up killing the horsemen, it's going to be a bit of a thing where you have to consider the fact that, well, I'm going to get lots of defensive power, but I'm going to lose some DPS due to my horsemen dying eventually. I don't know. Going to be interesting to see how that actually interacts and how useful it ends up being. We have Trollbane's Icy Fury. When you obliterate or skirt strike a target affected by Trollbane's Chains of Eyes, it shatters, dealing Shatterfrost damage to nearby enemies and slows them by 40% for 4 seconds. Alright, so this was the, obviously Trollbane. They cast Chains of Eyes on your target. Hard to say exactly how much uptime that is, but if it's going to essentially mean that you'll supercharge skirt strikes and obliterates whenever you have Trollbane up, and it's going to do lots of damage to the target and everyone around them. Not sure how useful this is going to be, but I kind of like the effect. It's kind of like Shattering Strikes for Frost at the moment, without actually consuming it, so we'll see. Nice flavor to that talent. I like the addition of like a benefit to Trollbane, putting up his slow, even though that also just increases your damage flat. Finally, we have Morsworn Menace. The cooldown of your Horde of Winter and Horde of Blight is reduced by 15 seconds, and Deafening Decay is reduced by 10 seconds. Alright, so this is interesting. So Horde of Winter for Frost currently gives resources, and a 15-second reduction would bring that to 30 seconds. Again, very much feeding into Breath and Ghost gameplay here. Everything, as soon as I see something here that gives you resources, I immediately think, well, that's going to be good for Breath and Ghost. I hope the War Within does something with Breath so we don't end up having infinite Breath. Because already I see lots of things here that are going to give us even more resources than we currently have. Obviously, assuming we have the same talents as now, but we'll see. I hope they do something about this, but yeah. Unholy Blight going down to 30 seconds is going to be nice. It means that if you pick that up, you can essentially use that to only apply a dot. Unless you have Ebon Fever, you're going to send in some outbreaks. Not sure about how everything is going to align. Again, hard to say into the future. But if this was status quo, we would have Unholy Blight just desyncing from all the cooldowns. It doesn't synergize that much anyway, but still something to think about. We also have that Deafening Decay is reduced by 10 seconds. This is another one. So that's going to bring Deafening Decay to 20 seconds and Defile to 10 seconds. Are we going to have permanent Defile? Is that what you're thinking, Blizzard? Or are we going to remove Defile? I don't know. Permanent Defile, I was going to say, no thank you. Don't want that. Considering the fact that it just means we have to stand in it all the time. It means we block out mechanics, that kind of thing. But again, they said, feedback, do not focus on Deafening Decay, because they're going to rework how that works. So I'll trust them that they end up doing this in a good way. That just means that maybe just Defile goes away and Deafening Decay ends up being a 20-second cooldown. That'd be quite nice. Yeah? I don't know. Sending your abilities more often is a nice talent though, so I do like that one. Alright, now to the left side, and I think this is the most exciting, almost the most exciting talent on the tree. This is a talent choice. We have On a Pale Horse. While outdoors, you're able to mount your Acros Death Charger in combat. Now that is pretty cool to me. Outdoors, not exactly sure what that means. Generally it means that it's not instance content, so outquesting, that kind of thing. You essentially be permanently mounted. So long gone will be the days where we just slow death knights walking around. We'll just be riding our horse, doing very quick questing, which is a good idea. I'm not sure if you can mount, like, you know, in raids and dungeons where you can usually mount. Will that work there as well? Or will it just be completely restricted in those scenarios? I don't know. It'd be pretty cool if we could mount in raids where you would otherwise be able to mount out of combat, but hard to say, hard to say. It's still very, very interesting ability. I like it a lot. We'll see. Running around on a horse, like on a Death Charger, fighting enemies. I like the idea. We also have another choice, Depth Charge. This replaces your Depth Advance and essentially supercharges it. So call upon your Depth Charger to break through your movement impairment effects. This is like this is how Wraith Walk works currently. So if you get like rooted, you can press Wraith Walk, it removes the root. This will now means that Depth Advance does that. For 10 seconds, while upon your Depth Charger, your movement speed is increased by 100%. So a lot more than currently Depth Advance does for you. You cannot be slowed and you're immune to forced movement effects and knockbacks. So essentially, it takes Depth Advance and adds in Wraith Walk, puts you on a horse, and just gives you much better ability in together. I very much like this because like Death Knights do struggle with movement. If you play Fire Mythic, having to run that with tornadoes is a pain because we're so slow and we can't really do much about it. Big fan of this. I think it's going to be on a pale horse. You pick that whenever you're outdoors doing questing, and as soon as you go to raids or dungeons, you're going to pick up Depth Charge and just have much better mobility than we've ever had before. So, nice one. We have White Mane's Famine. When your diseases deal damage to an enemy affected by Undeath, it gains another stack. Additionally, when Undeath deals damage, it affects another nearby enemy. This is a lot of Necrotic Plague vibes here. If you remember, I'm not 100% sure if I remember correctly, but back in the day, Necrotic Plague used to do this kind of thing where it would deal damage and jump to another enemy, and then you could use Blood Boil to spread it to everyone. Specifically, I remember that fight with all the hands gripping you, and you use the Necrotic Plague and dot everything up, and everything just die. Anyway, this kind of works like that. So whenever it ticks, it spreads to another enemy, and then it's all gonna stack up over time, over the 24 seconds. Additionally, your diseases will mean that they stack quicker. So for instance, Super Strain, maybe, I don't know, would mean that it stacks much quicker if you have that. Ebon Fever would double the increase rate. It's quite passive. We don't do much about it, but it's kind of Necrotic Plague, so I do like that. But still not, yeah, hard to say. I like the idea of this ramping dots kind of vibe. It's going to be fun to be more dot oriented. Having it be either using army to get this guy White Mane, or having it random proc, not so much fun, and it's all passive, but yeah, bit conflicted. I think I'm generally happy about it. Alright, finally, Hungry and Thirst, damage of your diseases, Frost Strike, Death Call are increased by 15%. Use a flat one, 15%. Happy it doesn't say wounds there. It doesn't say wounds anywhere, not in the other one as well. So, who knows what will happen. Not much to say about that one, honestly. It's just a flat damage increase to your abilities. Right, so those are all your talents. Lots of fun stuff in here. Having your Riders Apocalypse coming up, summon them with your army or Frostmoon's Fury. Having a Necrotic Plague like Dot is quite fun. Being able to charge. Hop on your Acro's Death Charger when you're outside doing questing. Or just having a supercharge Death Advance. Mate, there's a lot of good stuff in here, which I'm a big fan about. I can kind of read between the lines that one, I think it's going to be another Breath expansion. Or they just get rid of it completely and you have something else. I don't know. Gonna have nice synergy with Unholy Burst. Good vibes that we're seeing Definite K reworked in some way. Can't wait to see that one, but I will definitely make a video once that drops. Anyway, those are my thoughts, analysis on the Rider of the Apocalypse War Within Talent Tree. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think about this? Are you happy? Not happy? I'm definitely, overall, very happy. Big fan of this. Like it very much. Like the name, like the theme, like the abilities, you know. Up for downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.